to Say It with Roz. I want to talk today about being prepared. Now, what do I mean by being prepared? I'm talking about emergency situations. Now, an emergency situation can be a hurricane, even a bad thunderstorm, or just a power outage, earthquake, and Lord forbid, war. You know, we've never had a war here, and I hope we never do, but anything's possible, right? And even if a war is in another place, it may affect some things, you know, here in America, you know, with getting supplies or whatever. So those types of things are emergency situations. Now, I've gotten some notes. I have some notes here for myself because I didn't want to forget anything. So forgive me for looking down and reading my notes periodically. But I can vouch for a power outage. And because we had a tropical storm here in Texas, Tropical Storm Beryl. And we had lots of trees down and, you know, things like that. My entire fence around my house got blown down, you know, lots of tree limbs and things like that. But luckily we didn't suffer any bad damage on our property, you know, not anything that we couldn't handle, my husband and I. But we did suffer from the power outage. We were without power for 7 days, Lord have mercy. And we are so dependent on that electricity. We didn't have a generator. We didn't have any power packs, you know, or anything like that. I did have some battery-operated lamps, and we had our flashlights. Flashlights really can throw off quite a bit of light, especially if you have the right kind. And they can, but of course you got to have more batteries now. You got to have your battery supply there. Hold on a second. I'm going to go get that flashlight that I have. Okay, I'm back. This is one of the flashlights. And it can throw off quite a bit of light. Yes, indeed. And I did use it during that time. We also have these little types of flashlights. You know, you can just sit them on your table and turn it on, and it will throw out quite a bit of light, you know, in the darkness. So, but, you know, that's about all we had, you know, as far as dealing with the darkness. Luckily, I have a gas stove, so I was able to cook, you know, things. But there was no microwave, and boy, is life tough without a microwave. And, of course, the refrigerator and the freezers that we have, were not working because there was no electricity. So if you've got lots of food stored in your refrigerators, it's going to spoil, you know, if you're without electricity for many days. But luckily, someone my husband knew let us use one of their little generators, and it was sufficient to, run our refrigerator and our freezers, and also to plug in, some lamps and things, for light. And my sister had this power pack because they had electricity, and she let us use that. So I was using that, to charge up, my phone and my iPad, things like that. So you have to be prepared, because if not, you're going to be sitting in the dark. Sooner or later, your devices are going to run out of battery power, and you won't even be able to know what's going on. So, of course, you can always go in your car, and charge your phones if you have the right connections, I think a lot of these cars now, well, I don't know, maybe the new car, I might have an old car. Maybe the new cars have, the types of plug-ins that you need to charge your phones and things like that. I don't know, But anyway, I just want to warn everyone to be prepared as best that you can, for those types of emergencies. As soon as you can, buy yourself a generator. Now, I know if you live in an apartment, or a townhouse or something like that, maybe you can't use a generator. I'm not sure what you could do, but there might be something for that as well. Just check the internet and check YouTube. They have all kinds of tips out there. But for people in a home that can run a generator, you need one. And you need to consider the gas that's needed to run a generator. So it might be a good idea to keep a little gas on hand, because a lot of times when there are power outages or really bad storms, I mean, even the gas stations are not open. They can't sell you gas. So it's best to fill up your car and get you some gas to run your generator, well ahead of these storms. You can prepare ahead when you know something's going to happen. But sometimes you might not know, and things can happen quickly. And it's just best to be prepared. Now, where food is concerned, you need to keep some canned goods on hand. Things that you can open up and eat right out of the can, if you don't have any means, to heat it up. I imagine some people can use their barbecue grills, to do some things. You have to revert back to living off the grid, So I know it was pretty tough for us, even with the generator, for those 7 days, because you don't have light all over the house. You just plug in, your lamps or whatever you have. But you can't go in a closet and turn on a light or flip a switch and turn on a light, none of that, you know. So it's best to be prepared. Don't ever think that it won't happen to you. And I also am starting to check out some of these videos about how to can food, even meat. You know, I never even considered. I have done some canning, you know, back in the day. I tried my hand at it, and but I hadn't done that in quite a while. But I never considered canning things like meat, you know, or the dry, the dehydrating food. I did buy me a dehydrator a few years ago, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I have dried so many things, you know, and I have used them. You know, they come in handy. You know, they don't need any refrigeration, and they last quite a while. I have things still on the shelf that I did well over a year ago, you know, and they're still good. You know, some things don't last as long, and some things I won't dry again because I just won't. They didn't work out for me, you know, like bananas. I didn't really use the dried bananas, and the last time I looked at them, they looked pretty gross. You know, they were really dark, and I don't want them. I'm going to throw them out. So, but I will freeze bananas, you know, sliced bananas, because I use them in smoothies, you know. But, you know, like onions, your herbs, even cabbage, kale. I mean, you can really dry anything, you know. And I use mason jars, you know, to can things in. I'm going to do a video on just that, you know, preserving foods. And I'm especially going to video when I attempt to can some meat. But listen, it might be a good idea, you know, especially with how our food supply is so messed up these days. I don't know if you've noticed, but there are so many recalls. It's ridiculous. But anyway, back to the emergency preparedness. Make sure that you have on hand at all times a generator, if you can use a generator. Now, they do have generators that run on gas and propane. So I ordered a gas one, and it will be here this week. But I really wanted to get one that ran on gas and butane, but my husband said he didn't like butane. So I got the gas one. But we might get another one too that uses butane too, because I just think it's a good idea, because you can store that butane for quite a while. You know, it can just be sitting there. Gas, I think you've got to do something to it to keep it stable, you know, if you're storing it long term. But anyway, if you can, get a generator. If you can, get some power packs, you know, that you can charge your iPad, your iPhones. You can even plug in your lamp into those things, or your fan, you know. Of course, when the power runs out, it's gone. But you can, if you've got a generator, you can recharge it, you know, with that generator. So make sure you've got lots of batteries, you know. for all of your devices, your flashlights. I'm trying to think what else. You know, lots of other things run on back. You can have a radio. You know, it's a good idea to have I don't know what they call those, broadband radios, or I'm not sure, emergency radios. We don't have one. I need to get one. I have a list of things that I need to have on hand, because believe me, when emergencies come, people are going to buy up everything. You won't be able to find a generator. When a storm's coming, and people know a storm is coming, those supplies are going to go like that, you know. And if you don't get there in time, you're going to be out of luck. Also, it goes for food. You know, when there's a storm, an emergency, people go in there and they clean those stores out. You might not be able to find much of anything left. So it's best to have these things on hand. You know, always keep you some food, you know, that has a long expiration date, like beans. Always have you a lot of rice, you know, on hand. That doesn't need refrigeration, and you can store that rice in mason jars. You know, tuna, sardines, you know, pork and beans, things like that. You know, it might not be exactly what you want to eat, but you won't starve, okay? You will not starve, okay? And you won't be walking around hungry, you know, and trying to find food for your children. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so make sure you've got your good battery supply. Whatever kind of batteries you need, make sure you've got a good stock of those. And have as much battery-operated equipment as you can have. Like lamps, you know, for instance. I've already mentioned the canned goods. And you need a first aid kit, you know, because you won't be able to go to the doctor if something happens to you. You know, if you cut yourself, or you've got a cold or whatever, you know, make sure you've got your medicine cabinet is equipped, you know, with things for colds, you know. You've got Band-Aids. Actually, my sister gave all of us in the family a first aid kit. Not a first aid kit, an emergency kit. You know, it has a first aid kit in it, but it has so much stuff in here that you could use in an emergency. You know, even if you have to get in your car and go somewhere. What if you don't have anywhere to go? You know, what if you don't have money for a hotel or whatever? You know, it's good to have a tent, a good tent, you know, and I'm not kidding. As soon as you can, invest in you a good tent and learn how to put it up, you know, because we just never know. We living in crazy times, really, and we never know what we might have to do. I would advise people to have a tent. Also, I would advise, especially if you're in a flood zone, to have you a little boat, you know, a rowboat or a dinghy or something that you can get out in and try to get somewhere to land, you know, that's not flooded. And maybe get you some supplies or something. I don't know. You know, I'm just saying. But this little kit has some of everything in it. It has gloves. Never know when you might have to use some gloves. And it has this first aid kit that I was talking about that has Band-Aids, you know, antiseptic, you know, stuff to kill germs. Little pair of scissors, you know, it has gauze, safety pins. Here's the gauze. Cotton swabs. I guess this is a tweezer. Of course, it's got, let's see what this is. I think this might be the iodine prep pad, you know, to disinfect if you have to disinfect something on your skin, or some people have to give themselves shots. Like me, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I have to give myself a shot every week. And so I always swab my skin with some alcohol, you know. So this is a great little first aid kit. Has rope. I mean, there are lots of things. It has a little shovel. I mean, this thing has everything, you know. Never know when you might have to dig something, you know. I mean, you don't know. You might end up in the woods, you know, having to go to the woods. I mean, who knows? You know, we might all have to run for the hills. And you need supplies, you know. You need something that's going to sustain you, to help you out in that type of situation. It also has, I'm not going to show you everything, but I do want to show you this. It has a hammer and a hatchet. You know, you just take this little rubber thing off and you can chop something. You might have to chop some wood. I mean, really and truly. So this is thank you, sister, because this is really great, you know. And you might, you know, if you need to, you can just grab this thing and get in your car and go wherever the heck you need to go, you know. And you've got quite a bit of things in here that can help you out. Now, I know they have those emergency food buckets that you can buy, because if you have to get out on the road, you know, you might want to take you some food with you too, because, I mean, there may not be anywhere to buy any food. You know, you don't know, you know. So you might want to purchase one of those, or you really can build your own bucket. Just get you one of those food-friendly plastic buckets, you know, with the top on it, and fill it, put your own beans in there and your own rice and whatever few canned goods. Now, you got to realize it's going to be heavy. So, you know, but you know what you like and what you need. So, you can build your own food bucket, or you could go buy one. But I saw one of the guys that I follow who talks about this type of stuff all the time, you know, that some of those food buckets, you know, they're really not ideal, you know. So it might be best for you to fix your own food bucket, you know, something that you can just pick up, throw in your car and go, you know what I'm saying? And it has enough food in there to sustain you for a few days. Of course, it can't be anything perishable, you know. Let's see here. I believe I've covered it all. Now, okay, no. You need to have a bag with some personal things Some people call it a bug out bag, you know. And it's a bag that has things that you might need, you know, for your personal care, you know, your comb, you know, some lotion, could be your medical supply, you know, your medicine. A lot of us take medicine these days, you know, so make sure that it might be a good idea to, you know, just periodically keep a supply of all of your medicines that you take in that bug out bag. If you don't use it for a while, you can go ahead and take that medicine and put a fresh supply in there, because you don't know. I mean, you might not be able to. Now, what you can do, I have a bucket. Lord, I take so much crap, unfortunately. But I have a bucket, you know, a little plastic container, not a bucket, a little plastic container that I have all of my medicine bottles in, and I could easily just pick that up and take it on, you know. But make sure you have that. And you gotta have clothes, you know. You can't take too much, but you at least need a change of clothes, you know, some underwear, you know, things that you need to take care of your personal self, you know, you might want to put in there. So you need that ready to go too, okay? I know I've never had to go anywhere, you know, Lord, and I hope I don't. But if you do, it's good to be able to just grab some things and go, and you're confident in knowing you have what you need in those bags, you know. So unfortunately, we can't take everything. We can't take all of the things we love, you know. So you might want to keep your important papers, you know, together in a waterproof bag or whatever, you know, so that you can easily grab those and take with you, because you don't know. You might come back and a storm has taken your whole house. That has happened to people. You know, everything is gone. Everything they love and cherish, you know, is gone. You know, keepsakes, you know, photographs, you know, everything is gone, you know. People that have a lot of, like me, I have a lot of, you know, disc from, you know, that I store information on, lots of pictures. I've taken so many pictures, and it would be good to just be able to pick up, you know, all of those, to keep those in a bag. At least I have that on disc, you know. If I can take my computer, good, you know. But, you know, I have a lot of camera equipment, you know, I mean, you can't take everything. So you take what you can. And hopefully you've got good insurance, and you can replace what you can replace. Some things you can't replace. But anyway, I think most of the time what us Americans are faced with are storms, you know, that come in and tear up everything or leave us in the dark, you know. Like I said, we've never had a war, you know, where we had to go running for our lives or anything like that. Now, sometimes people do evacuate when these storms come, like I said. So you take what you can take and pray that when you come back, you still have a home, okay? But that's about all I wanted to say. I just wanted to warn people about it, you know. It's up to you whether you do these things, you know. And maybe I know times are tough for some. You might not be able to afford to just go out and buy all of this stuff, you know, in addition to what you've already got to do. I understand that. I can't just go out and buy everything, you know, but I have started to get my act together. And food-wise, what I'm really going to prepare now is my food storage. And I will do a video about that. So I'm not going to go into all of that. But anyway, be prepared as you can be. Be prepared. And that's about all I wanted to say. You know, let me see if I forgot anything. Let me look at my notes here. Oh, you also need a plan. You know, make a plan right now. You know, what if this happens? What will I do? What if that happens? What will I do? Where will I go? You know, do I have someone to go to? Or am I going to have to fend for myself on my own, you know? Am I going to have to stay in my car? I mean, you know, have a plan, you know. Which route am I going to take to get out of here, you know? Let's see here. I've already talked about building an emergency kit. And, of course, always stay informed, you know, keep up with the news, really on everything as far as the news. I know some people, you know, have talked themselves into not watching the news, but that's you know. Let's see here. Let's see here. Also, you want to know how to contact your insurance agent if you need to. Make sure you've got that information in your policy, you know, in a place where you can get to it. You might want to take that with you too, because if you might come back, like I said, and you don't have a house anymore. The storm has destroyed everything. So let's see here. One of the things I'm going to do is put some links in the description of this video. There are two people that I follow that are good at explaining, you know, going into detail about things. And I would advise you to subscribe to those channels and listen to some of their videos, because they give you a lot of knowledge on how to survive, you know, if you have to. Now, it would be good if you had some land somewhere, you know. Young folks, buy you some land. I wish I had thought of that when I was younger, but I didn't. Nobody told me that. Buy you some land while there's still some land to buy, you know, in a place where if you have to, you can go and you can pitch a tent. You know, it's your land. You can do what you want to. You know, you can grow you some food. You can put you a trailer up there, whatever. But you got some place to go, you know. And the value of land, I don't think ever goes down unless something terrible happens on that land. It's only going to go up. And there might come a time when there's no land to buy. Buy something to preserve in your family for generations to come. And make it where they can't sell that land. Because that's what happens a lot of times. You know, the elders, they worked all their lives. They've bought this land. and then when they die and leave it to, their offspring or whoever, they don't want to fool with it. They go ahead and they sell it, which is a shame. That happened in our family. And I hate it to this day that we don't have that land. It was our inheritance, but it was sold. And, but anyway, I'm getting off on another whole nother track, aren't I? But I hope I've said something that will light a fire under somebody to start preparing for emergency situations. That's all I've got to say. Check out the links I'm going to leave in the description. Okay? Over and out.